Welcome back to another episode of the Be Who You Came to Be podcast. I'm your host, Tara Renze, and today I got to tell you, I am so pumped about this guest. I met this guy almost 2 years ago. We were actually sharing a stage together at an event, but he's not a keynote speaker. He's actually a DJ. And when I was thinking about the type of guests, the type of people that I wanted to come on to this podcast to inspire you, he was one of the first people that came to my mind. He is incredibly authentic. His energy is next level. He is so fun. He is just hardworking as hell. I mean, this guy is always on the road, always at events, bringing the life, bringing the fun to wherever he goes. And he's a dad, he's an entrepreneur. He got to DJ one of the biggest parties in US history. I can't wait for you to find out about that. We're going to save that to the end, spoiler alert. And, he is just absolutely incredible. His name is DJ RanKan. And I got to just start off by saying that if you're listening to this and you are in the event business, here's a pro tip. Hire a DJ, specifically DJ RanKan, to be on the stage. It changes everything about the event. The energy, the dynamics, the camaraderie, the coming together. Hire a DJ. Trust me, you will not regret it. DJ RanKan, welcome to the show. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you so much. It feels so good to be on. And what you just said, couldn't have said it any better. More and more companies definitely need to be hiring DJs because we take some workload off, It's just like build the soundscape and production companies don't have to worry about things. So this has been like an avenue that I've been pioneering for the past 8 years. And where I am in the book was unimaginable. So it's just, I could not have forecasted where it's taken me, but it's been a great ride so far.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with this corporate event DJ for a minute because this is, I speak at a lot of events and it's interesting the small percentage. I mean, the market is wide open for you because I'm shocked how many people don't have a DJ or don't have the music, which brings all the energy to the stage. I was a music major in my previous life. And so I just love music, the power of music, what it means, how it brings people together. And that energy that you bring literally, I think, changes the event, changes the vibe of the event. And I also how people feel even after they've left the event.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because music is like the universal language. That's what I always tell people. So when I'm traveling to Asia or Europe, or if I'm in Brazil, and I may not speak these other languages, but when I'm in the DJ booth and I play these songs, I see people's face light up and they're leaving with a memory that was so easily communicated to them just through music. So I think that it's important for events to build a proper soundscape and to hire someone maybe like myself who can help them further their event message through the power of music, like you said. And it's just been an uncharted territory that I've been slowly navigating the past almost decade now. And, I got it dialed into a pretty good science, but I'm still learning. And more events are kind of catching on to the magic that it brings, I guess you would call it. But there's a lot more to grow and a lot more to learn still. So,
yeah,
I didn't know you went to music school, first of all. What?
I was a theater and voice major my first 2 years of college. I went on scholarship to the university. I wanted to perform. I wanted to be on stage. And I say it's interesting. I mean, I'm on stage now, and people are like, how did you get into the speaking world? And I say, well, everything I've done in my life has led me here. And I think I'm so comfortable on a stage and talking. So yeah, I was a theater and voice major for 2 years. And then after a couple years, I was like, I don't really think that I want to be a performer. I realized it wasn't what I wanted at that time. And obviously I still have a huge appreciation for music. And my brother actually is a music educator. My other brother was he was a percussion performance major and a business major. My husband plays the guitar. We're a musical family. We'll break out in song. We're like the Von Trapps.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny because in high school, I never did any sports. I was last picked in gym class. I was first out.
You were that guy?
Oh yeah, I hated swimming. I had to like swim with like floaties on because I was just terrified to swim. However, I did drama club. Okay, I was Sandy in the play Annie. I had one line, the dog. I was like "Roo,
Uh-huh.
rah, rah, roo," in the one part. That was my only line I had.
I
And
love that
then,
they actually cast you as that. Like they were like, well, we got to give him a part. Let's make
my
him Sandy the
outfit
dog.
costume was fire. All right, my mom helped me make it. It was great. And then I did have one lead. I had one lead, and it was the narrator in the play. Why am I drawing a blank? The play went to movie. It'll come to me in a second randomly, but I couldn't remember any of the lines. So the person who was producing the play had to print them in a book, and I had to stand
Oh
off the
no.
stage and read them. Yeah, bad casting job on their part, but nailed it. It was great, great performance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you grew up. I mean, you obviously loved music, and I think it's interesting. So many kids. We've talked about this on some previous episodes that the "Be Who You Came to Be" note was a note that my grandmother wrote to my son when he was a week old. She wrote him this little, beautiful little love note that kind of read like a love note, but at the end of it, she said, "Be who you came to be. Love will guide you." And as a parent, that has been how I've literally positioned myself in his life of helping him be who he came to be. And I think that you're a parent, you've got a little baby in the house,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you look at these children, and you're like, you can't wait to see all their authenticities unfold and who they are. And I think that society, they try to like I see so many things of like the sports kids are cool. I mean, this is how it was when we were growing up, right? I mean, all the cool kids played sports. I was in the band. I actually went to band camp. Go ahead, insert your jokes,
I'm not doing it.
put all your things in. But I mean, the band kids were cool. I had a fucking blast in band and orchestra
No,
and
I'm
choir
sure
and
you
all of that.
did. I'm kidding.
I
I'm
did. I
kidding.
got my first kiss at band camp actually.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yep, but
The
behind
band
the
camp stays
dorms.
band camp. It's all good.
What?
No, I said what happens at band camp stays at band camp. It's all good. So you mentioned about this letter that was written at like 1 week old, and I started getting emotional because I just had a son 5 months ago that you just brought up, and I received a letter in the hospital from my father that he wrote for me 34 years ago on the day I was born.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was this really crusty, dirty envelope with a little sticker on the back from 1990. And my dad hand wrote me a letter. And the moral of the letter was that he wishes for me to be who I want to be. And now here we are, kind of full circle. I'm getting emotional talking about it. Like it was said in different words, but that's kind of like the moral of, he wants me to have an opinion and use big thoughts and not follow the herd and do these, just be myself, be who I am. And like that was the moral of
Yeah.
his message. So, I mean, this is really profounding to me. It's just, I'm just glad I'm here, you know? It's cool.
Yeah. It is a simple yet profound message. And when I started sharing it, Ben, when I really got in tune with the note, I mean, obviously it took my breath away. When I read it to him, I started crying,
Yeah.
looking at this baby, thinking like, who are you and what are your talents and authenticities? And I mean, what color of hair are you going to have? What are your eyes going to be like? How tall are you going to be? Are you going to want to be in the band or play sports? And,
Yeah, right.
what's your personality going to be like? All those things. And I think as a parent, it's also given me the guiding light. And I see this happen all the time with kids where the parents want the kids to be who they want them to be. They want them to be
Yeah.
like them or have their similar interests. Where, as me, it's been this like freeing, beautiful way to parent of like, my entire mission in life is to help you be who you came to be. And then as I got, a few years into parenting, I started thinking about the note in terms of my life and who I am and who I came to be. And becoming a mom changed me so much that I switched up my career. And it was like this permission slip to continue to grow and change and evolve. And I think so many times we think being who you came to be means becoming an adult. But we never arrive, right? We get to a certain point and then we keep growing and we keep
Yeah,
changing.
right.
And that simple sentence, be who you came to be, has honestly changed so many people's lives, because I think a lot of people give up on their dreams and they give up on who they were, and that they can continue to grow and change and evolve, and that we never reach a spot in life and then we're like, okay, cool, I'm here. Like now I just coast.
Yeah, and it's wild because I don't think really anybody ends up being who their parents wanted them to be, and that's kind of why I want to shift my parenting technique too with my son growing up. It's like I learned firsthand that I wasn't gonna be what exactly my parents wanted me to be. They wanted me to go to school and get good grades and go get a 9 to 5 job and work 40 hours a week and retire on 40% of my saved income that I made and take one vacation a year and like live that American dream, right? And that's kind of like what they did. I watched my dad have a very small at-home business, and I watched my mom go to school while I was born, like alive still. I remember being 7 years old. My mom was still going to school to get her master's degree, and she worked for corporate America. And one day she got let go after having a job there for 35 years, completely exposed, like, just trashed pretty much. They moved a bunch of her department overseas, and now she was 50 or 55 and didn't have a job. So it's like I looked at both sides of the spectrum and I'm like, how can I make both of these things become a reality for me? The entrepreneurship, but having more stability. I know I'm pretty much unemployable at this point. I can't go get a 9 to 5 job. And
Me too.
just seeing both sides made me realize that, the college thing maybe wasn't going to be for me. And I ended up dropping out of school after just simply asking my business professor what businesses he owned. And he's never owned a business before in his life. And he told me one day he hopes to. And I'm like, how can I learn business from a guy who's never owned a business? I'm like, I'm out. And my message
Right.
necessarily isn't college isn't for everybody, but for me, it just wasn't for me. I wanted to learn
Yeah.
from somebody that had experiences. I wanted to go find a mentor and somebody that owned a business. And I knew two things. I knew I liked business and I knew I loved music. And it's like, how can I combine the two? And now I'm playing music at some of the largest businesses in the entire world, still learning my business. And it's been incredible how I figured out how to make the two blend together. It's like I laugh
Yeah.
about it, you know?
Well, I think when you truly follow your purpose and your heart, and like knowing what you want to do, like we just figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
even when I started this speaking career, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My message wasn't there. I would actually have these dreams or like visions of myself on a stage, sharing a message, standing in confidence, but I couldn't figure out what I was saying. So it was like I had this vision of what I wanted, but I just had to figure it out. And you just keep going. You figure it out one day at a time. So when did you start? So you loved music. So were you like guy who like DJ'd all the parties and like played music for everyone?
It's so funny, right? Because we started a radio club in my high school called Wild Radio. And our initial idea was that we were going to play music in the cafeteria for lunches. That was it. We were just
For
going to play
lunch.
music. 20 minutes lunch we had 4 lunch segments in our high school. It was just 20 minutes each lunch, you know what I mean? And so we started I had this old dusty Windows computer with like the first version of iTunes on it. This is 2004, by the way. And we started playing music in lunch. And that was Wild Radio. And eventually, they stopped hiring external DJs to do the homecoming parties and the winter ball and the proms and things like that. And we had like 3 DJs. And this guy, Jeff Toy, opened up a mobile entertainment DJ company. He was the business teacher in Iroquois High School, which he ended up opening this massive mobile entertainment company. He's one of my mentors. He is a business teacher that has actually owned businesses before. See where I'm going with this? And I love it.
Yeah.
And I was the first DJ he ever hired. I mean, I was getting rides to other high schools to go DJ their homecoming dances and getting fired from these exact same schools because I was hitting on girls that were at the dances, and that was not allowed. It was a thing, right? And yeah, so we ended up DJing like 37 different high schools in the area. And we ended up a couple years later in high school, now maybe I'm a junior at this time, we ended up getting graduated from the corner of the cafeteria into an old utility closet next door to the cafeteria where they put a
Ah.
legitimate DJ booth with a door. Now they moved a couch in there, so this became like a little hangout area for us, and we had like a key to get
Right.
in the DJ room and whatever. Long story short, the girl that I am now engaged to, that I have a baby with, they ended up throwing the couch out with because I got caught hooking up with her in the utility closet room during high school hours. So it's like, I was living the life of a DJ back in the day, I was getting.
Oh my God, that is so funny. Well, how cool that the school though recognized your passion and talent and were like, okay, we want to foster this in
Yeah,
this kid, And they
yeah.
probably saw like what it did for the lunches, right? I mean, having the music at the lunches had to have been cool as hell.
Yeah, it was super fun. And like, we weren't playing like ragers during lunch. The music was low. There were rules and regulations to like what we could play and couldn't play. But it was really cool to be able to play music in the lunchroom as people were eating lunch. And it was a really cool thing. But the interesting part about this story, without like oversharing too much, is that I ended up leaving the DJing behind because my parents wanted me to go to college. And, I graduated and I was like, it's been fun. I was still doing some weddings for my buddy Jeff at the time and some proms and stuff like that, making some extra money. But I went to school for a business degree and really just didn't think that the DJing thing was going to be in my Rolodex for a profession, until I ended up quitting college.
Oh
So
my
I did go
gosh.
I went on like a 1 year hiatus of, leaving it behind.
And were you getting paid as a high schooler to go DJ these dances and stuff?
Sarah, I was like the richest high schooler ever. It was legally too, like yeah, it was
Right,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, and like it was so funny because like you would go DJ a high school dance and make $300, and like that was crazy money. And I was doing one
Oh,
or
yeah.
two of them a weekend, so like I'm walking around high school, I got like $1,000 in my pocket. I'm like, who is this kid? But like I never showed anybody. I was always really good with my money, and I saved a bunch of it. But it was, yeah, I was making great money.
That's so cool. And how did you decide that you want? I always think about DJs. I'm like, how do you actually learn how to DJ and like buy I mean, the equipment's expensive for a
It
high
is.
schooler.
Yeah, I mean, we were DJing on junk, in high school. It was like, we got a little funding from the school to get a computer, and we didn't have a mixer at the time. Like, we were using literally a keyboard and a mouse in 2004, and we were using this program called Virtual DJ, where you can just like manually change the crossfader from one deck to the other. I have a three-legged pit bull who's gonna bark in the background right now.
That's okay. He could say hi.
Come here, Rue. But the story takes another awkward turn. And I've failed at a bunch of things in my lifetime in order to succeed at a couple, right? So I ended up after I dropped out of school, I made an agreement with my parents that I was going to go learn a trade. And the
Oh,
trade that I
wow.
wanted, and yeah, and the trade that I wanted to learn was car audio, because I was like, how can I keep my business and my music thing together? So I wanted to go and customize cars. Like, you've seen Pimp My Ride?
Oh, I just so you know, my sons try to blow out my fucking bass every time they get into my
Yeah.
car because they literally get on the equalizer and they're like, we need more bass, and then they turn it up loud as hell, and all of them
Yeah.
want to put speakers in the back. I mean, this is to this day.
So, so that was pretty much my life. I built this little truck, and I'll show you a photo of it right now. And I went to school to learn how to pimp out people's rides. And I started installing sound systems in people's vehicles and doing like remote car starters and stuff. Like, there's my little S10 pickup truck. That,
Okay,
okay, pretty sick.
blue, super cool. What a
Yeah,
cool
it was on
blue.
hydraulics. It was great. And so I opened up a business called Twisted Customs. I was still DJing high schools at the time and doing car audio installs in vehicles, but I live in a very snowy climate like yourself. And part of my business was installing remote car starters, and I absolutely hated it. And I was not happy
Oh,
going to work. I was not happy doing what I was doing. And I knew that there was more happiness out there and more life for me. So kept just DJing high schools and proms and weddings, and I got a phone call to go DJ at a bar. Okay, this was my first bar residency. It was called Mojo's on Main Street. It was absolutely insane. I had a
Like a
chandelier.
nightclub?
It wasn't a nightclub. This was the exact opposite of a nightclub. This was a hole in the wall. Like the more dried up vomit you could find, the better this
Oh
place was.
God.
This was in the College University district here in Buffalo, New York, right by UB.
Okay.
The
So
stories I
a college dive bar.
It was insane. Yeah. So I was DJing at this place, and I started like getting in with like some radio DJs that were in the area because they would do some bar promos, and I became really good at DJing. I found my first pair of turntables in the back of a car in a junkyard. Okay.
Oh my
They were
gosh.
Technic 1200 turntables, motorized platters. They're worth buco bucks nowadays. But I learned on this old set of turntables. And like this is where my DJing kind of evolved because I went from DJing on a computer with a mouse and a keyboard to actual turntables. And I was bringing these turntables to me to go DJ at proms and homecomings. And people are like, yo, this kid can actually mix music. And I would sit in my parents' garage and I would mix music on these junkyard turntables for hours and hours and hours and hours, right? And I would just like
And how old were you then? Like 1920?
19. I was 19.
Okay.
So I was 19 years old at this time, and I started, mixing music. So this crazy gentleman, his name's Chris Nelson. I'll give him a shout out. Absolute lunatic, but I love him if he ever sees this. He started this thing called iTeen, and it was a area where all local high school kids could go on the weekends to. It was like a social dance, like a teen night. It was called iTeen, and I was the official iTeen DJ, and that's kind of when things changed for me in my career as a DJ because I became like a local celebrity. I could not go to the local mall without taking photos with people. Every high school in the area attended this event every single weekend.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and it was a great time in my life, some of the best days of my life. And but I ended up getting an internship at the local radio station, Kiss 98.5, from this. And their only stipulation is that I had to be a college kid to get an internship. So I went back to the shitty community college, re-enrolled, paid for the semester, all right, didn't attend one class, just showed Kiss 98.5 that I was a college kid that wanted an internship. So my internship ended, and I kept showing up to the radio station. I was like, what can I do today? They're like, Ryan, your internship's over. And I was doing nothing there like that had much to do with music. Like I was pushing papers. I would sit in some music meetings where they would decide like what music would get played and what wouldn't. I would sit in the production studio and watch these guys make commercials and so on and so forth. But I kept showing up to the point where they were like, go home, go home, go home. And every day I would show up. I'm like, is there anything I can do here today? And finally, Sue O'Neill was like, in 30 days, I'm giving you a radio show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Sue O'Neill. I call her Mama Sue, and she is still to this day one of my best friends, and she was a pivotal point in my career. She gave me a radio show on Kiss 98.5, the first ever radio station to play a Justin Bieber song. We're in the opening scene of the Justin Bieber movie, which is so incredible, right? And I did radio on Kiss for almost a decade.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Isn't it amazing how one person giving you an opportunity can change everything? I know the guy who gave me my first job out of college, I was so unqualified for the job. I remember actually, I'm old enough that I faxed this resume in for this job that I was totally unqualified for, and it was, I had like seen it and I was like, oh, this job sounds amazing. And I almost didn't send my resume in because I was like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Like, you're not even qualified for this. But I did have some good work experience in college, and I wrote this great cover letter, and the guy called me and he's like, I want you to come in for an interview. He's like, I don't even know why. He's like, you're not qualified for this job. He's like, but I feel like there's something here. And I was a national marketing director for a publishing company. And when I was right out of college, this job it was also like, I was making insane money for being right out of college, but I traveled around and I met with like high-end custom home builders, and we published magazines, like their own custom magazine. And honestly, that job changed everything for me. And it was because Jeff Tobin was like he was my Mama Sue, right? He believed
Yeah,
in me, gave me this opportunity that changed the trajectory of my entire career. And
yeah,
also, I think just changed my self-regard on how I felt about myself and like how I was going to approach things. Like I
yeah,
wasn't going to play small.
yeah. That's the mindset, right? And like like you sent the resume, and in your brain you're like, I'm not going to send it, I'm not qualified for this, like I'm not going to send it, but you sent it, right? And then something great happened. And like that's kind of my message to people, is that like you don't know what you're good at unless you try things first, and you don't know if people are going to say yes unless you ask for it. So I mean
Right.
this is further proved a couple years later in my career, where I started DJing corporate. I was in an opportunity where I could or couldn't have done something. And if I chose to not do what I did, and I'm going to tell you what I did, I would not be sitting in this seat right now with you. I promise you that. I guarantee you. Like the most pivotal decision I've made, I drove overnight from DJing a wedding for Jeff Toy to Columbus, Ohio to go watch Gary Vaynerchuk speak. I was already on this like train of self-development, like personal development, like finding people who
Right.
I want to latch onto. I went as an attendee. Like I bought a ticket to go watch Gary Vaynerchuk speak. I bought a VIP ticket to go to his VIP after party. There were only like 100 or 150 people supposed to be there. So I drove overnight, checked in the hotel room, went to his keynote, and went to the after party. And at the after party, there was a DJ booth in the corner of the room, and a woman with a headset, completely frantic. There was no DJ. The DJ never showed up. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I
This
drove
is
there
total
overnight.
serendipity.
I drove there overnight, Tara, with my turntables from the wedding I DJ'd the night before. And I walked up to her and I said, "You look like you need a DJ right now. Can I help you?"
Oh my gosh.
That woman was Shelly Rojas from Success.
Oh, from Success the magazine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Completely changed everything for me. Like that moment. Smashed it. Smashed the event. She was like, "Do you want to go to San Francisco and do this exact same event next weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll show up. I'll be there." And
Yeah.
like that was the door. Like what if I didn't, like I almost didn't go up to her. I was like, "I'm exhausted. I don't feel like playing right now, but how cool would it be to play this party?" I'm like, "She needs a DJ. I don't even know, the DJ she could have hired could have been way better than me. What if I'm not that good?" Like your self-doubts start getting at you, right? But then
Oh
you're
yeah.
like,
You could talk yourself out of everything.
so easily. You can talk yourself out of something so much faster than you can talk yourself into doing something. I'm
A
so
100%.
thankful that I just had balls of steel and went up to her and like solved her problem for her, because now I'm solving people's problems in the corporate world day in and day out as far as music scene, like music scapes go, and it's it's been incredible. So
So did you get to meet Gary V?
no, I wish.
Oh,
You know what's funny is
Gary,
that
we got a DJ for your next big
yeah,
event right
Gary,
here.
Gary, I follow you. I am a loyal follower of you. I buy tickets to your show. Let's team up. All right?
Yeah. Oh my God. You guys would be insane together.
We would be a wild ride together for sure. Yeah, I know.
This one event started leading to other events, and you do a lot of different type of corporate events. I know you do a lot in the direct selling industry.
Yeah.
Um, you've done a lot of international events. Like I'll be like, oh, he's headed to like Hong Kong. I don't know where you're going. It's just so fun. Tell everyone you're DJ RanKan on Instagram. Everyone has
Yeah.
to follow you.
Yeah. At DJ RanKan on pretty much everything. So
Okay.
it's spelled with a K too. RanKan.
Do you have like other verticals that you work in or that you specialized in, or is it just kind of you got a corporate event? And I know you do parties and stuff still too, right? Like I've seen you
Yeah.
at bars and like really cool places. And we're going to talk about
The biggest gig
the
of my
big,
life.
big, the biggest
Yeah.
gig of your life here in a second. But
Yeah, so I do a ton of direct sales stuff. Direct sales companies love hiring me. I understand the direct sales space. I was actually in a direct selling company before I did this Gary Vaynerchuk event, which is kind of what set me on the personal development streak that I was on. I was
Yeah.
involved in a company called Vima with BK Barreco. Me and BK still
Oh
talk to
yeah,
this.
I totally remember Vima. I took their
Yeah,
Vima, the Vima shot,
yeah,
the
of course,
drink.
Vima. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, they have Verve, the energy
Verve.
drink.
They were like one of the first energy drinks.
Yes. And I love their product to this day. The founder, BK, is still a very dear friend of mine. BK actually had a chief marketing officer called Mark Patterson who hired me to DJ a product launch. That was my first ever corporate event before I did this Gary Vee thing. So I kind of had my wheels, like my hand like on the saddle a little bit before I started doing corporate because I helped them with this product launch. Um, Afterwards, Mark Patterson ended up calling me to DJ for another company. So my first real large-scale corporate event, like on the books, was with Mark Patterson in Singapore, and
Oh
that
my
was,
gosh.
yeah. And I was like, I look at my buddy, I'm like, you want to go do a gig with me? He's like, yeah, where are we going? I'm like, we're going to Singapore. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, like he didn't have a passport at the time. I've never been overseas. I was not ready for that long haul flight. Just totally inexperienced. But yeah, now I've circled the globe over a dozen times just playing corporate shows. It's been really badass.
So cool. And I love the direct selling space. I think people they're misunderstood about what it is because there's always like a couple bad apples in the business and it gets the wrong name.
Yeah,
But one of the things I think specifically is the personal development that these people do and the way companies invest in them and give them I feel like the space to be who they came to be. And as a speaker, they
yeah,
are lit. These conferences are so fun. I would be on a direct sales stage every weekend if I could, because one, my message does resonate so well because it gives them the power to be like, hey, I am being who I came to be, and I'm doing something I love, and I'm designing the life that I love, and that I'm living life on my terms, and the whole creating, owning, and doing what they want to do, and they get to align their passions and their purpose with a product and a company, and
right.
everyone who's there wants to be there, which I think makes it just an insane experience, and the vibrations are high and people are having fun, and there's enough success for everyone in the room.
Yeah, there really is. The direct selling space is probably my favorite type of event to do. I love the industry as a whole. I think that the industry as a whole should be reevaluated by a lot of people. I think that there's so much good to be done in the direct selling space. And I think everything, whether we know it, acknowledge it, or realize it or not, is extremely similar to the direct selling space.
A
Um,
100%.
you know what I mean?
I
And
actually
it's just,
worked in corporate. I did corporate sales and leadership for a decade. And, I share with people in the direct selling industry, I'm like, look, just so you know, when I was a sales leader, I was paid exactly how everyone's paid now. Like, I was paid, well, I did have a salary, but all my bonuses were based on if I was bringing the right people in, if they were selling, if we were, retaining customers. Like, it was all there. It was all the same. And it's
yeah,
really no different.
I know. I know. And the industry over the pandemic, I think, spiked, and people realized, this is something really great. I can make a full-time income at my house, and like,
Right.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's probably my favorite industry in the world. But I do
Yeah,
do
me
a lot of
too.
other things. Yeah. I do a lot of other things. By the way, I'm not involved in any direct selling companies like as a distributor or an affiliate. Like I get asked all the
I'm not
time.
either. I know. Well, when you do what we do, you can't
Yeah,
really, because it's a conflict of interest, and
totally.
we want to be there to support their brands and what they do. And
Yeah, not be
I
biased,
know
right?
I love so many products from the direct sales industry. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, we could talk about all this. Unfortunately, we're going to run out of time. So let's get to the big whammy, the biggest event. When I saw this and you messaged me about where you were going over New Year's, I died. Did you get like DJ YMCA? Let's tell them where you were.
Yeah, I did. All right. Okay.
Was that so fun? He was
Yeah,
at
it was.
Trump's. He was at
Uh,
Trump's.
yeah, I was at Trump's. All right. So this is how this happened. I DJ'd Donald Trump's New Year's Eve party. I'm
Oh
just
my gosh.
speaking it It still feels unreal when I say it. And I want to preface this story with it does not matter who or what political party it was. If I had the opportunity to DJ for a president of the United States, I am saying yes.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Oh,
So
100%. And anyone who says different,
I know
I
it's
get
so
so
annoying
pissed.
to
I
hate
mean,
it.
people like giving Carrie Underwood shit for singing. I'm like,
Yeah,
come on,
it's
get
obnoxious.
over yourself.
Like when
Yes.
I launched this at 12:30, like you should have seen the influx of flow of people in my inbox. Like people are crying, people are congratulating me, people are telling me they can't believe what I did. It's whatever. I did it and I loved it and I will die on that hill. Here is the story. Are you ready? You're sitting down.
I'm ready.
April of 2024. I just got off stage for DJing for Meghan Trainor. Guess who brought Meghan Trainor to their show? A direct sales company that's absolutely crushing it. Okay? Senegence, lipstick company. Love Joni Rogers?
Yeah.
Shout out. So I get off stage. This gentleman wearing a suit comes up to me. He's like, yo, what you just did on stage was crazy. You were great on the mic. Your mixes were crazy good. Meghan Trainor comes up to me. I have a photo of this. She tells me, she's like, I was nervous to go on stage after you a little bit. I'm like, why? She's like, you were pumping it up. It was crazy. All the girls were dancing and jumping. I'm like, I was just warming them up for you, Meghan. Like, you crushed it too. So this guy is like, RanKan, I do a party every New Year's Eve. Do you think you could come do it? I'm like, I also do a party every New Year's Eve. I can't come do it. Like,
Right.
I have my own party that I do, you know? I'm a DJ. Tons of people come, friends, family, whatever. It sells out. It's a sellout every year. He goes, well, before you write it off, let me just tell you, it's at Mar-a-Lago. And, like, I was like, wait a minute. Like, it, like, took me a second because I didn't click. I'm like Mar-a-Lago? Like Donald Trump's house in Florida? Like the Winter White House? He goes, yeah. I'm like, are you like low-key asking me to DJ Donald Trump's New Year's Eve party? She's like, yeah. I'm like, actually, I think my schedule just cleared up. Fuck it. I'll be there. I was like, I'll be there, right? So I get on the airplane. I get this dude's phone number. I get on the airplane. I'm flying home. I still can't believe it. I'm like, there's no way this is real. I'm like, it's not real. A month goes by. I text this dude out of the blue. I'm like, hey, this is RanKan. I met you in Tulsa, Oklahoma with the Meghan Trainor show. If you're serious about Mar-a-Lago, I would love to do it. Let me know what I need to make it happen to make sure this happens, right?
Right.
He hits me back. He's like, send me a mix. Send me a photo of yourself. Whatever. I sent him all these things that he needs. Don't hear back from him. Another 30 days goes by. I'm like, hey, just wondering, you know, if this is real. Like, are we gonna do this thing? I kind of need to know now. He sends me a number of the stage producer. He goes, oh yeah, you're all locked in already. He goes, sorry, I forgot to message you. I've been busy. He goes, you're good. You're booked. Consider it a done deal. Week later, the check comes in the mail. Like, I'm paid like 6 months out from this party already. Like, this is like a done
Gosh.
deal. Like paid in full. So now I'm not allowed to tell anybody that I'm doing this. Do you know how hard it was for me to keep it a
Oh my
secret?
God. I can't imagine.
Like I'm sitting at the Thanksgiving table, going around the table telling people what I'm thankful for in 2024, and I can't tell them that I'm DJing for the President of the United States of America. Do you know how hard that was? So anyway, long story short, I get to Mar-a-Lago, to the hotel. I went through 5 security clearances to get there the night of. It was me, Leonard Skinnard, 38 Special, the Village People, a ton of celebrities. I'm standing between me and 10 feet away is Elon Musk with his son on his shoulders. Laura Trump's on stage performing. I have footage that like has not even leaked to like TMZ. I don't know how. But the party was amazing. Yes, I played the YMCA. Yes, Donald Trump was there. Yes, he stayed. He was one of the last people in the room. Out of the 400 people that were there, there was like 50 people left in the room at the end of the night before he left. I think that's incredible that he stayed and people were like, these are his friends and family and people from the club.
Right.
And he like stayed the party out. He was in great spirits the entire time. Ivanka looked beautiful. And I DJ'd Donald Trump's New Year's Eve party. It was badass.
Oh my gosh. That is, I mean, you get to perform for a president and you get an honor like that. I mean, holy shit. Your parents are probably
Yeah,
like, yeah, maybe college wasn't for you.
literally, my parents could give a shit what I do at this point. I'm retiring them and working my ass off, having a great time, and like they don't
And they
have
have a
any.
grandbaby, like they're in heaven.
Yeah, so it's been a great ride so far. I'm
Oh my
just
gosh.
crushing.
So I mean, you're doing all these corporate events. You did the president's New Year's party. What's next? What's
Yeah.
next?
There's a couple things. It's funny. My friends joke. They're like, "What's after DJing for the president? Like, what do you do after that?" But like, I do still have goals, and I think it's important to always keep dreaming. So, I would love to implement some sort of keynote into my corporate events where I give a presentation. I think it would be super fun to come out of the DJ booth and deliver some sort of 20-minute motivational speech. I think that there's more to me than what people think. Like, they just think I'm a hype man in a DJ booth that screams in a microphone and hypes people up. But I would like to be able to simplify my story and leave people with like a little nugget of something at events. And I think that would be the best way to do it. I think it would be very fulfilling for me. So I think that's what's next.
Oh, there's totally a market for that, and I think that would be super cool. I could totally see events, wrapping their head around that too. And I think it would be, I would kind of envision as like you're there and you're
Yeah,
doing it all, and then all of a sudden, like you're on the stage, and people would get so inspired by your story and being able to do that, and then like getting back to the party at the end, like that'd be cool as hell.
yeah. I wanna
I
write a
can help you
keynote.
with that.
I know you can. I want to write a keynote about like your song, like sing your song, and that's kind of like your message, like be who you want to be, but like sing your song. And I want to play different versions of songs and have music really dialed into this little 20-minute keynote and have it be really interactive and take people on an emotional roller coaster where they figure out what their song is and then play it loud at the end of the day. Like that's your song that you need to celebrate too.
Yeah.
Could be really.
I think it could be more than 20 minutes. I mean, I think you could get 60 minutes of, if you're incorporating
I would,
music and all kinds of stuff, it could just be so kick
yeah.
ass
I
and
mean, I would love.
memorable and different.
Yeah, I want it to be different. Everything I try and do, I want it to be a little bit different. And I want people to remember it. So that's what's next for me. Um, Completely off topic, I have been funneling like all of my money that I've been saving into providing affordable housing to senior citizens.
Oh, I
Um,
love this.
yeah, so that's a side quest of mine. And I have 72 low income senior only housing that I offer. I do everything in my power to keep the rents super cheap, and all the utilities are included in the rental payment. So I'm on a mission to keep growing that side of another business that I started, which is just this real estate chapter that I'm going down. So, yeah, side quest. I'm doing the senior citizen housing, and that's
Well,
what.
that's so needed. We are in a situation where Scott's folks, we need to get them into, no, I mean, we're trying to say, is it senior living? Is it assisted living? I mean, but we actually found this guy, and there's such a market for this, but he is like a broker basically, where he meets with the kids and the family and are like, okay, what are you looking for? What do you need? And then he goes and like researches the different places in the area that would work with your budget, that would have what you need. Do they have openings? And then he
Yeah.
actually gets like a broker fee from the place. And I actually found this guy online,
Wow.
and Scott and I are busy, his sister's busy, and we were like, oh, this is so needed. And I do feel like there's such a market for that. And well, you could go DJ for them. They would freaking love it.
I do DJ for
You could
them.
have
I have a video of me playing Juvenile Back That Ass Up, and I have one of my tenants dancing on a table. I would. All
Oh
right.
my God, that's so fun.
Yeah. So we
That
have a
is
great
so
time over
fun.
there. It's called Angle Park Senior Apartments. And when I'm
And is it
not,
in Buffalo?
it's in Buffalo. When I'm not traveling or working on my house, I am in my office at Angle Park Senior Apartments, fixing toilets and changing light bulbs and doing income certifications on new tenants, making sure they have a nice warm place to live. So that is
Oh my
what I do.
gosh. You're the real deal. You're the whole package. What a great heart. I
Yeah, it's
love
cool.
that. Well, I feel like we could talk forever, and I'm sure that people are going to have a lot of questions. And your story is so inspiring, and I think for anyone who, I think people give up on their dreams. I think people think it's not for
Yes.
me, I'm not enough. So many people feel like they don't matter, that they don't make a difference, and that their dreams are silly, or how could they ever do that? And then, they're finally like, I always say, like, I don't care whether you work at NASA or sell lipstick. Like, your purpose and passions matter, and you can't play small, and you really do have to believe that you're worth it. And there's like, I feel like the traditional path is, for so many people, it is overrated. And
Yeah.
if you try to put someone into that path, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Um, I I just DJ'd an amazing event for It Works, and Mark Pentecost, who is their founder, was just on stage. He's launching a brand new book that I'm very excited to read. But the moral and the message that was really profound to me just recently was that you don't dream at nighttime, you dream while you're awake, and you need to start dreaming now. And if you're not dreaming, start. And it doesn't matter how old you are, to keep dreaming. And it really inspired me. So that's kind of what my mantra is leaning towards right now, is like, what am I dreaming on? Because I feel like some people stop dreaming. Like they just fall into a perpetual cycle. They know what their 9 to 5, Monday through Friday is going to look like, and they just stop dreaming. So if you are watching this right now, this is my message to you via Mark Pentecost, to start dreaming today and write down your dream, because I think it's really important to always have one, and dream while you're awake, not while you're sleeping. I love that message.
Yeah. Well, it's really the heart of the show, and the Be Who You Came to Be message is that we're all different. We all have our own unique talents and purposes, and you aren't ever going to arrive. Like, be who you came to be means that you're not who you were yesterday or today, and you get to keep growing. And you only get one life, you like, the time's going to pass anyway.
I know.
So I always say, like, you might as well go all in on it. And even starting this podcast, one of my dreams is to eventually have like a show, or to do something more mainstream. And this year I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, no one's coming for me. Like, no one's gonna be like, I'm not gonna wait around for that. And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. And you just start doing it, and you grow a little bit each day, and then you just keep showing up.
Yeah, yeah, consistency, right? When you pop this podcast off, I was like, yo, this thing's going to be huge. I want to be a part of it, and I'm so glad and honored that I'm on it. But I know it's going to work for you, and I'm very, very excited for you. Everything and anything that
Oh,
you've seen put your mind to, you do very, very well. And I love seeing you speak on stage. And if any of my clients are watching this, they need to hire you to go do a keynote for one,
I know.
because
Well, we're
and
fun together.
we're so fun. I
We're
know.
so fun together.
Yeah.
We're good timers. So I feel the same way. My clients who are listening, you get the DJ on the stage. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, the dynamic
So,
duo.
well, we know where to follow you. We're going to put everything in the show notes. What a great message to dream awake, and to stop playing small, and to be who you came to be. And
Yeah,
your life is going to be so fun to watch unfold, and you get to watch this little baby grow up, and maybe add a few
I
more
know.
to the mix.
I know. We need to hop on another episode, because I have so many funny, crazy stories that I could share with you about traveling and events and
Okay.
things like that. And yeah, just let me know
Well,
whenever you
let's
want.
just plan on doing a part two.
Yeah, let's do it. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Part.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hey, DJ RanKan, thank you so much for being on the show today. For everyone who's listening, dream awake, follow your dreams, keep
Yeah.
shining, live unapologetically authentic, and be who you came to be.